Well, here we go. This is the message. Nobody on the internet is talking about it in reference to this eclipse. I have seen no one, and I've held it back, fighting over whether I'm going to reveal it or not. This is the one video you do not want to click off. This is the one video where you hear what hasn't been spoken before. And I don't say that lightly. This is going to be a hair bit longer. Maybe I'm going to try to keep it under 20 minutes. But whatever it is, it has to be. Now, if you don't pay attention and stay on, you're not going to see it. So maybe go watch my attention span disorder is damnation video. I'm sorry to be rude. People are clicking off too early and they're not getting the meat. I don't give the meat up front because I can't. I have to build up to it so that you understand what I'm bringing forth. But this one is about, and I'm rhetorically speaking, for April 8th. Not like on a Gregorian calendar, but for Passovers throughout history, the big ones that points directly to April 8th. Now it's going to get interesting. So I'm going to go right into it. And you have got to hear this. And you got to have patience though to see it. Now it says, you use the word God. Yah changes not. He has a pattern. The patterns he had long ago, he's got today. He does not change. That's what's important about April the 8th. He don't change his patterns. If he don't change his patterns, then perhaps this April 8th, we're all in for a huge surprise and we're weeks away. That's how big this message is. So we're going to start with the 4 Passovers in history that marks out his plan. And each time the same pattern repeats. We'll start with the very, very, very first Passover that we read of, with Moses and Israel leaving Egypt. That's the first one. Look at the surrounding circumstances. The plague of Egypt before Passover was what? 3 days of darkness, which foreshadowed the 4th and 9th commandment, thou shalt not bear false witness. Then the King of Kings is shown in the Passover. They put the blood on top of the door and the sides. That's the king in the center and the thief on each side, which corresponds to thou shalt not covet, the 10th plague, killing the firstborn. And the King of Kings, was he not also firstborn? That's right. Thou shalt not covet also corresponds to 2 thieves down the road. So, here's what happens. This is where you got to start focusing. The death angel shows up and kills the firstborn. And they had their staffs in their hand. On the 15th day, they left Egypt. If you don't have the right calendar, you're not going to get it. It's not the crescent moon. Sorry. They left Egypt on the 15th day of the first month. Each and every time, that 15th day is a day of deliverance and it's a day of judgment at the same time. But it was preceded by 3 days of darkness. Then comes the firstborn, and they left in deliverance from Egypt on the 15th day of the first month, which is what April 8th is in 2024 with the solar eclipse. Darkness! 3 days of darkness upon Egypt. 1, 2, 3 X's. It's always with 3. There's 1. Focus. An angel was there, the death angel. Why does the Father have an angel suddenly show up? He did. He has to send an ambassador for these huge Passover events because there's a power in this thing. There's a power in April 7th of 2024. Not by the crescent moon, the full moon. He's trying to get our attention. So now we go over the second mega Passover. Once again, deliverance and judgment. Now what do we see? Now let me grab the Bible here. Let's get my glasses on. Round 2. Joshua and Israel in the face of Jericho. They crossed the Jordan River on 12 stones. 12 months. 12 tribes of Israel. Now take a look at what is said. Right here. This is Joshua 3:10. And the children of Israel encamped in Gilgal and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month, and even in the plains of Jericho. Had they not have partaken of Passover, they couldn't have taken Jericho, neither would have had the right to do so. There's a power in this thing. I don't want to take Passover on the crescent. I want it on the full moon. I want the real one. Don't you? So if anything, you want to believe in crescents, that's fine. Take of both of them, at least. At least one of them's going to be right. Do you want to take that chance this year? I don't think so. I think on April 7th, you want to take it. So if you want to believe in the crescent, all right, then fine. Take of them all. But here's where it gets good. Now pay attention. They were delivered in Egypt, the first one, which is huge. Now another huge victory. And they did eat of the old corn of the land on the morrow after the Passover. Once again, that's the 15th day, April 8th of the first month. Now there's something else. Let me finish up this verse. Unleavened cakes and parched corn in the self-same day. But I thought it was green ears of barley. They're eating of the old corn, which is right here. See it? Old grains. Yep. Mature grains. Not green to be barley. Not here, it's not saying it. I thought it was supposed to be green ears on the wave sheaf day. It's about a bee. That is to start their bull only. I don't see any commandment for that. But I'm not getting to that argument. This is what we got to see. And the manna ceased on the morrow after they had eaten of the old corn on the land. Neither had the children of Israel manna any more, but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year. That's April 8th, isn't it? 40 years. And that was the day after that Passover, the manna gone. No more, never again. In other words, the wilderness provision was ending. In other words, scraping to get by. I got pennies in my pocket. I can barely make it. For the people in the last days, the manna's going to end, and we're going to eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year. Now, it doesn't say that very day they started, but that year they started to have the good stuff. Because they took a Passover. There's a power in this thing. Real powerful thing. Real powerful. Not a game. These 4 Passovers, you gotta hear this whole video to get it. There's a power in Passover. The Father moves according to His feast days. The manna ended, and they started taking the promised land in the last days because they failed back in Joshua's day. We'll pick back up where they left off. Except this time, the 144,000, I'm getting ahead of myself, is not going to fall away. There was the death angel in Egypt. Let's see if we get round number 2. And it came to pass, when Joshua was by Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes, and behold, there was a man against him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, Art thou for us, or for our adversaries? Second time. That's 2 angels. That's 2 out of 4. The Father didn't change his patterns up to this point, now did he? And both 15th of the month, days of deliverance through Passover. 2 mega Passovers. 2 of them so far in history. 2 of them. So now the score is half and half. Let's see if we can get 3 out of 4 by any chance. I don't need those anymore. The big day, Crucifixion Day. Wow. The very day that points once again to April 8th, 2024, the 15th day of the first month. The king died. Now go watch my Sign of Jonah video. I'm sorry, it's not Crescent Moon. I'm sorry if I offend you, but it's the truth. But if you don't want to believe that, fine. I don't think it's going to disqualify you from salvation, at least at this point. So we'll work with what we got, okay? For those of you, you can think what you want, all right? Just hear the rest of the story. I'll try to be a little more patient, as the Father was patient with me when I had to stumble around and learn the lesson the hard way. Now comes the Crucifixion Day, the big one. And as I've shown, he was in the tomb only one day on the 15th of the first month. Just like Moses leaving Egypt, the manna ended on the 15th for Joshua. King in the tomb on the 15th, raised on the morning of the 16th day. That's 3 in a row, and that day of deliverance was for all of it. Now the crucified Lamb has performed his job. Now we're to build on that power, because there's a power in this thing. We don't even comprehend it. If we did, our brains would probably blow up. There's so much in it. May the Father give us faith from out of this. When he was resurrected on sunrise, who was there? Once again, 3 angels. Excuse me, 2 angels. I'm thinking the third day. 2 angels was there. Like on the Ark of the Covenant. They were facing each other. Now, I pretty much think that's what Scripture is illustrating. The Ark of the Covenant, because the King is now the Ark. He is our covering. There's your ambassadors again. These guys are always showing up on the big days. Why the Father requires it, I don't know. He just does. He just does. That's 3 out of 4. 3 mega Passovers in a row. Same story. Moses 3 days. Now it doesn't show 3 days for Joshua and Israel, but it does show for the King of Kings 3 days. Now, round 4. Will round 4 be just like the other 3? Is April 8th, 2024, 3 X's, 1, 2, 3, making this Hebrew letter here on the 15th day of the first month, the day the king was dead in the tomb. There's your 3. Always 3. Now comes the big question. And I can't answer that now because it hasn't happened yet. I don't think we have to visually see anything. It's not like our skin's going to be burning and the nuke's going to go off or any of this. I don't expect any bombs, any mega earthquakes. I expect nothing. That's not what I'm expecting. It's the eclipse itself and its signs. But after that day, the gloves are off any day. And I believe but by the end of this year, it's going to hit. It's going to hit hard. Sudden destruction. But I can't help but wonder because the first 3 mega Passovers, angels were always there. If this is a 4th one, and everything points right to it, it's prophesied in Amos, it's a huge day. And we all know 2024, hell's gonna break loose. Are we to assume that another one of these angels, an ambassador, is going to be sticking around? If so, which one might that be? How about the only one that fits the bill? The one with the seal of the living Yah in Revelation 7 that comes from the east, the calendar, to seal his servants in their foreheads before all hell breaks loose. These angels are holding back the winds of all-out destruction. In verse 1, it goes to like verse 4, till the servants are sealed. If this sealing might by some chance take place, is that not also another day of huge deliverance as well as beginning judgment? Hence, 3 X's. You're being X'd out, America, the Babylon. You're the headship tribe of Israel, Ephraim, and you've done nothing but go into harlotry and idolatry and false doctrine, drunken of the blood of deception through the whore, her wine, her wrath, her everything, her counterfeit Holy Spirit, through the serpent ministries, who are nothing more than preachers of Baal. Just like it was with Elijah at Mount Carmel. Preachers of Baal. And the preachers don't even realize, I'm not talking all of them, there's a few of them that came out. I'm talking about overall. Is working for Hasatan, don't even know it. I don't care how sincere they are. You offer up a sick, blemished, corrupt lamb, you're going to get sick, corrupt results. You're going to get deception and darkness. That's just the way it goes. He operates in truth, not deceptions or even half-truths. He wants it all. Okay, we all have error, but the idea is to be coming out. But who's going to be sealed? And will it take place here or earlier in the chapter of Amos 8, a basket of summer fruit that he sees? Could it be Pentecost? That after this, they're sealed. Because they have to be sealed according to Revelation before the all hell breaks loose. That's what the Bible's showing. So are we going to get 4 out of 4? That's the question. I can't say. All I can tell you is the first 3 Passovers I told you about. That's past history. I don't have to prove it because you can read it with your own eyes. And you know it by heart anyway. You don't even need to read it. So what makes us think that the Father changes his patterns now and the 4th one isn't going to be just the same? Now that, pray about it.